Okay, we welcome all of you back. This is fun stuff. Big game Saturday in the Swamp, which is a tough, tough place. 6 o'clock Nashville time, Tennessee and Florida on ESPN. And joining us from Knoxville for his weekly visit is Tony Basilio. Tony, how you doing?
Gentlemen, I'm doing great, and it is certainly a tough place to the Vols. I'm not sure how tough a place it is for everybody else, but it's a tough place for Tennessee.
So let's sort of take these two teams and kind of talk through them a little bit.
Yep.
On the Tennessee front, if Joe Milton has to win the game late, is he good enough?
That's a Kelly question, not a Tony question, but I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, George, he was not good over the weekend. They were not good over the weekend. They were startingly bad over the weekend, and their passing game was atrocious. Now, their numbers didn't say that when the game was over, but like a lot of things in college football, statistically, numbers can really be deceiving. And that's a great question about Joe Milton. In a close Southeastern Conference game, can he function? And that very much remains to be seen.
I've always thought, Tony, when I saw him at Michigan and early at Tennessee, that it was grab the sawdust out of the ball and try to win the battle of the radar gun and see how hard you could throw it. Did he revert back to that against Austin Peay?
No, he just wasn't accurate. Look, there's throwing guys open, and then when guys are open, throwing to the wrong shoulder. And, our fan base is so cheering for Joe Milton that many are kind of, I guess, hesitant to criticize him. And a guy sent me a text today when I was on the air, and we were talking about the quarterback issues Tennessee's had. And he says, well, I totaled it up, and there were 176 yards of receiving that if the receivers would have caught balls. I mean, come on, man. Look, when you throw the ball as hard as he does and you don't put it on the money or close to on the money, like when you're putting it on the back shoulder and you're throwing it 1,000,000 miles an hour, NFL receivers aren't catching those balls, let alone major college receivers. And then what happened was they got out of their rhythm in their passing game, and that pretty much led to them having lapses of concentration in that position the rest of the night. Because once you get the ball rolling, it's kind of like in baseball when you see an infielder make an error, then another guy does, and you're like, uh-oh, going to be one of these nights. That's kind of what happened with Tennessee's passing game the other night.
So let me try it this way. Saturday night, Sunday, when the coaching staff reconvened, did anybody in that room say, if this continues in Gainesville, we got to think about Nico?
George, I've asked several sources that very question, and the thing I keep getting back is we need Joe Milton to play well. Now, what isn't a good sign for Tennessee, or is it? I don't know. But through 2 games, they felt the need, the veterans on the team, to call a team meeting after the game the other night. Players-only meeting. Is that a good sign, a bad sign? I hear that the wide receivers are highly upset at the quarterback play, are blaming the lack of accuracy for their poor numbers thus far. But certainly they've been culpable as well. I don't think Tennessee wants to go to a true freshman quarterback just yet anyway. Look, if you can get to midseason and you want to do that, and the record dictates that, or you want to go the Clemson route, they pulled the plug. I was looking it up. They pulled the plug on Kelly Bryant 5 games into his, I guess, would have been junior season. For the kid that's at Jacksonville now, and they never lost a game. They went and won the national championship, and he threw 24 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. But look, Clemson playing in the ACC versus the SEC. I mean, I just think that's different caliber of football myself.
So, in that meeting where somebody is bound to have brought it up, ultimately, Heupel is the one, as the CEO, the head coach, who has
Yeah.
to make the call. What are you hearing about where he's leaning in all this?
He does not, George, want to make a quarterback change. However, I was looking up some numbers, and I have them over my blog today over at tclub.team. I did kind of a deep dive on their numbers. Tennessee's 97th in the country in EPA passing, which is a advanced metric statistic that factors in who you've played. So it kind of weights the world of college football against the world of college football. I think the number's 79 in the country in yards passing, but they're actually 97 in the country compared to their peers because they haven't really played, anybody tough. And so the point is that they're basically struggling against air right now. And that's not good. Josh Heupel does not sign up to be 97th in America in anything offensively, let alone throwing the football. So if Joe Milton, the doomsday scenario for the Vols is Joe Milton comes out, replicates his half that he had against Austin Peay. And by the way, anything's possible. Anything's possible this year in college football. We've already seen it. So let's say he comes out and replicates his half that he had against Austin Peay. Tennessee's down 10 or so points. Would they make a switch at that point? It wouldn't surprise me. Are they going to? I don't think so. But it might be a deal where the head coach says, that's it, I've had enough. They don't want to do that. They're really cheering for this kid. He's a great story. Tennessee's fan base is cheering for him. But it's been pretty hard to watch through a couple of weeks.
So I'm gonna let Kelly handle the Cooper Mays stuff here in a minute. I want to ask one Florida deal. Clearly, Billy Napier has caused a lot of what's the word? Uncertainty. The Florida base, they know that he was a very good coach at Lafayette, but since he's gotten here, it hadn't worked. And Tennessee offers a chance to get all these people off his butt. But what if it works the other way and Tennessee really rips into Florida? Then what for Billy Napier?
I think he can lose the fan base, but he's not going to lose that AD. Because that AD knows if he goes down, I go down. And you and I both know, we've seen the way these ADs operate. You've seen your fair share. They are political animals. As long as they can prop this guy up. Now, the only time that I think Strickland departs from him is if they tell him it's either him or you.
Yeah.
Because these guys are worms. These guys and gals, I guess I can say that. But at the same time, I don't think that guy has the appetite to make a change unless it's mandated on him. So my sense of Billy Napier is he's pretty safe this year unless he throws up a 3-9. George, they just don't have much team. I mean, they just don't. Now, I say that, and they'll probably have two freshmen that we haven't seen come out of nowhere and make like circus catches against Tennessee. The Vols are working. I'll give the Vols credit. While everybody else gets in line, like, here you go. Since 2003, LSU's beaten them 6 times in their building. Florida State's beaten them 5 times there. Bama's beaten them twice. Ole Miss has beat them twice. Kentucky has beat them twice. Vanderbilt has beaten them there. Missouri has beaten them twice. This is all in Gainesville. Texas A&M's beaten them there. Auburn's beaten them there. Mississippi State's beaten them there. Georgia Southern has beaten them there. Tennessee's going to work on a 20-pack this weekend. 20 years without winning down there. I guess that's actually a 10-pack. But I'm in broadcasting and I can't add. But the point is, everybody else is getting in line and getting some, but the Volunteers.
So, Kelly, what I think he is saying is that the Florida Field Ben Hill Griffin Stadium mystique is done.
I don't know. He just called somebody worms. I'm really I really like that. Worms.
Athletic directors, particularly Worms. Yes.
Worms.
Yes.
I want to go back to the Joe Milton thing. Just one deal. It is hyper, which I'm for the kid too. I think you are. I think everybody. You just talked about the fans after all that he's been through. I think everybody's for him. But is this a case where Josh Heupel is like overly loyal to that? Or I mean, he at some point he's going to have to make a decision. And if he does make the decision to go with the young kid, I mean, that's just saying everything to Joe Milton. Like he's going to lose the kid. It's like if you like, I wouldn't want to have to go back to him. You get what I'm saying?
And that's the decision the staff's going to have to make, because once you go off him, you're going off him. We've seen that. I mean, when you take a freshman quarterback, a true freshman, and you just have a 5th or 6th year senior, and you turn the page on that 5th or 6th year guy, goodbye. There's no turning back. So if you're going to make a decision, you better be triply sure that's exactly what you want to do. To your point, though, Josh Heupel's loyal to Josh Heupel's points and his yards and winning football games. Now, there is a scenario where they go down there and kind of slog around and, let's say, win 20-16, and he decides to keep him as his quarterback because he has Texas San Antonio, and then he has South Carolina coming up. And then they've got Texas A&M and Neyland Stadium. So you could, maybe rattle off some wins. Though against A&M, you're probably going to have to score some points to win. Probably have to get into a shootout with them. But, Kelly, it is a weird year in the SEC because quarterback play across the board. Here we're doing all this stuff with quarterbacks, all this extra tutoring and all these camps. And all this, this guy on the West Coast and this guy on the East Coast and thousands of dollars. And I don't know that I've ever seen starting quarterback play as bad as it is in this league right now. So I'd like somebody to tell me where all this extra tutoring and where are the quarterbacks? What have I missed? And,
Well, I
and
told
by the way, in the NFL, half of the guys that are starting games can't play.
Wow, you throw it out there, Tony. I love it, man. I like it. You're absolutely right, because I presented this question before the season even started. Like, you've got so many unknowns at quarterback, and the quarterback play is not very good. And I will say this: I'm sick of everybody talking about, hey, the SEC, it just means more. Well, they've been pummeled in some games that really meant something. So I don't know how good the SEC is this year.
I find that highly accurate. I mean, look, when you step out of the league and Florida State puts it on LSU, everybody tells me go win the league. And by the way, the Daniels kid was the number 1 quarterback in the league coming into the year. He's going to lose his job. That's what's going to happen to him. And then you've got the Alabama result, which, I mean, I hate to tell people this. I saw that coming. Look, here's the deal with Alabama. You have to have playmakers. Nick Saban's known that the whole time. If Nick Saban went back to the NFL and took a team that was comparable to everybody else's team, he's a 500 coach. That's what he did at Miami. Hate to tell the Bama fans that. You guys have been worshiping this guy the whole time. What he is and was before the transfer portal was the greatest stockpiler of talent known to mankind. That's what he was. In the transfer portal era, what he is a guy that's had 40 guys leave his program in the last 2 years. There goes all your depth. So when guys go on to the NFL, you don't have playmakers behind them. And that's exactly what's happened. By the way, Alabama's not done losing yet. They're not done losing yet.
No.
And Georgia is the one elite team in the league. But I don't know that they have what you'd call like great quarterback play. I'll say this. Those people last year couldn't wait to get rid of their quote unquote little quarterback. I'm going to tell you something. He's better than the guy they got out there right now. So, the whole league is in a really, really strange state. And it's like that here in Knoxville. Like I said, Tennessee's 97th in offense, passing the ball through 2 games. Josh Heupel does not sign up for that. But are you going to throw a true freshman out there? I don't know. Are you? I don't think you are. But, the results across the board in this league as they've gone out of league, 3 big games. Florida up there with Utah, that was embarrassing. Florida's effort on that Thursday night. For Florida, I mean, that you're going to, look, I'm a Tennessee guy. I don't care if Florida can lose them all, so can Alabama. But if you're one of these SEC people, you gotta live with the fact that if Georgia loses a game somewhere along the way, and they have one loss against the schedule they're about to play in this league this year, they might not make the playoffs. That's what happened. That's why Florida State doing to LSU what they did is significant. Texas doing to Alabama what they did is highly significant. Because now you've got two teams that have an inside track for a playoff spot. All they have to do is run through their leagues, and their leagues don't look tremendous. Their leagues look like they could navigate those particular conferences. So if Georgia slips along the way, they might not make the playoffs, Kelly, and that's no joke.
However, Florida's win over McNeese will really up the ante.
What will?
Florida's win over
McNeese. Hey, you know what? Every time Tony's on here, man, I love Tony more and more because he just speaks it. It's like Tom Moore used to say, it's not about the X's and O's, son. It's about the Jimmies and Joes. And if you got them, you're going to win a lot of games.
You damn straight. Hey, how brilliant. I'm an Eagles fan, okay? I watch Eagles Sunday slop around with Belichick's team. And I'll tell you something. He doesn't look so loud and seem so proud now without Tom Brady down there on the sidelines.
He does not.
What do you think they were talking about up in Kraft's booth?
Probably.
Y'all suck.
How about this, George? Tom, why is it when you smile, your face doesn't move? I mean, have you got enough procedures?
Oh, Botox.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
Wow.
Hey, last one. What is the deal with Cooper Mays? Is he going to be able to play this week?
Well, it's interesting, right? Now, behind the scenes, he's telling people it's going to be October. Cooper Mays is.
Oh, wow.
Josh Heupel, though, to the media, said yesterday he's going to play, and then was asked yesterday if he plays, and Josh Heupel finished that question with, well, if he plays. So Heupel said he's going to play and then said if he plays, the same press conference. You've been around a long time. When a head coach lets it slip out of his mouth, if he plays, Kelly, what's that mean to you?
Yeah, he's trying to play games. It's probably not going to happen. Yeah.
And I'm for that. Listen, I'm for the head coaches playing games because if I'm a head coach, I'm not giving out any information. The problem college football has versus the NFL product, the NFL has an injury list that you have to turn into the league office, and you can't fudge on it because people are gambling on those games. And college football has no commissioner, so they let these head coaches get away with whatever they want to get away with. And as long as you do that, I would sit up there. People say, well, that's lying. No, it's not. It's being a football coach. Lying is a lie you tell in real life. Being a football coach, when you get talking about your team and you lie about your team, that doesn't count. It's like eating calories when you go on vacation. When you're on vacation, it doesn't count.
Worms.
Yes.
Who do you inform that they don't count?
Well, I mean, George, have you ever known a football coach outside of maybe your guy, Watson Brown, who happens to be the godfather of Cole? Have you ever known a football coach not to lie?
By the way, he asked about you a couple of days ago. I told him
he was lying.
I told him, I said, your son is doing well. He comes on every week and he misses you.
I do miss him. But I'll tell you this, I've grown very fond of Kelly. And Billy Derrick in that last segment was terrific.
Let me say this, though.
Lies.
Kelly will turn on you. He's not a team player. He roots for me to lose in Plaster Bet of the Day. He's not what we're hoping for.
At least I tell you the truth. I tell you up front that I'm against you. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush, you know?
Hey, Kelly, how long is the quarterback in Indianapolis going to last if they let him run around like that?
Ooh.
Is the goal to go to the hospital? What's that?
Well, it's the same thing with Josh Allen, man. And Josh Allen's played for a couple of years. I'm like, he was so juiced up last night in that game. He wanted to impress. He wanted to impress Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers got hurt the first four plays of the game, the fourth play of the game. But like he's jumping around and trying to run over. Like, what are you doing? You're going to hurt yourself. If you get hurt, we have no shot.
Yeah, okay, and I don't understand. I mean, these runaround quarterbacks in that league, you would think that a guy that's got, like you said, that's got some mileage on him, a big contract, get on the ground.
Please.
Do like the Mannings. Did the Mannings ever take a hit in their lives? Either one of
No.
those guys.
Peyton would lay
Manning
down.
was the worst. Hey, in Philly, we called him Sheila because every time somebody come around the corner, he does this. Duck and cover.
Same thing. He would do the same thing.
I mean, stop, drop, and roll. And nobody ever said anything to those guys. You have to, the heroes in the NFL don't last long that play quarterback. That's why this Jalen Hurts guy, you don't take on linebackers in that league. You do that enough.
He's starting to lay down now. I saw him the other day. He's starting to slide. There comes a point in the game, in the situation where you've got to go get something. But when it's the first quarter,
No, this Tannehill guy in Nashville, all those hits on his body, you can see it. And when you lose your legs in that deal, even a little bit, it becomes very difficult to function. Yeah.
There you're done.
Okay, let's speculate here. 6 o'clock Nashville time.
Yeah.
It'll be over about 9:15 Nashville time, 10:15 your time, and then you take over for how long?
Till 6 o'clock Eastern time, Nashville time.
In the morning.
I mean, 6 o'clock Central, Nashville time. There's no Eastern. What am I doing? Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
we're going to do like an 8-hour. We're going to do an 8-hour deal, probably.
Oh, gosh.
Longer or shorter, depending on if they win or lose, or same stretch?
Spoken like a true Vanderbilt Mark. No offense.
You got it. You had to throw that in there.
Well, I mean, Billy,
Tony, do you want me to work for you or not?
Billy, I don't know. I'm debating it. I was getting ready to text you later.
You got to debate it, dude.
Billy, if the Vols win, it'll be the first time they've beaten Florida in 20 years down there, and they will literally be alive in this league because this league is so weird. If the Vols lose that game, I could probably stay until Monday afternoon because they haven't won down there in 20 years. So either way, we're going to have a nice long show. And the thing about our Garzalaw fifth quarter fan reaction is it's the only post-game show you need. It's the greatest post-game show in the country. And as we say, call somebody. I mean, it's incredible. We have more fun. And I had a guy call me today, and he said, man, I just want to apologize. He called the show the other night, and he said, what'd you guys think of that one Nico series? And I went, and it was like 1 a.m. when he did this. And I went to my panel, did I miss something? Did Nico play? Because George, I'm not a big, like you guys can tell, I'm not a big detail guy. I'm a whatever I am. I don't know, but I miss things in games. I thought Nico played and I missed it. And he calls up today and he goes, listen, man, he said, I just had a lot of brown liquor. and I saw things. He goes, and I saw things, and I just want to tell you that I saw things. And then we had our first call the other night was from an 11-year-old boy. And I thought the kid was going to cuss. He was talking about the game, and I was like, because, the show is it can get every once in a while a little out there, but I'm thinking I cannot let this little kid was getting ready to really say something to me. How some of these kids are kind of mature? Like you could tell. This kid was he goes, the quarterback play was and he had that really high voice. And he goes, it just sucked. And I was just.
It's great.
You are a piece of work. How can they hear it Saturday night?
So we're over at tclub.team. You can check me out at Tony Basilio over on Twitter. And we're also available. Make the switch to Twitch. As we're telling people, we have a Twitch channel. But we have a lot of fun. So we'll either be celebrating a huge win or crying into the wee small hours of the morning. But either way, I'm trying to prepare myself and get caught up on my sleep this week because I'm not going to get much Saturday night.
Yeah, you better get on with it. Thank you as always.
Hey, thank you guys. Be blessed.